Everyone knows Hercules, the strongest demigod in Greek mythology. Son of Zeus, lion skin cape, giant club, the guy who did 12 impossible tasks. But here's the question nobody asks. Which of those 12 tasks was actually the hardest?
Because they're not all equal. One of them is literally just cleaning. One of them took him a full year of running. One of them required him to hold up the entire sky. And one of them required him to go to the land of the dead, unarmed, and wrestle a three-headed monster dog. Today, we're ranking all 12 labors, from "that wasn't so bad" to "how is this even physically possible?" No Marvel, no Disney, just the actual mythology.
12. The Augean Stables.
Yes, the easiest labor of Hercules is cleaning. King Augeas of Elis had 3,000 immortal cattle. Their stables had not been cleaned in 30 years. 30 years of divine cow manure. Mountains of it. Eurystheus picked this to humiliate Hercules. The great hero? Here's a shovel. Hercules didn't use a shovel. He knocked holes in the stable walls, diverted 2 rivers, the Alpheus and the Peneus, and let them blast through the stables, clean in a single day. Pure engineering, 0 fighting. Eurystheus disqualified this one because Hercules asked for payment and because the rivers did the work. So technically, Hercules had to do 2 extra labors, the punishment for being clever.
11. The Stymphalian Birds.
Man-eating birds with bronze beaks and metallic feathers they could launch like arrows. They infested a lake in Arcadia, killing everything. Hercules couldn't get close enough to fight them. The swamp was too dangerous. So Athena gave him a magical rattle. He shook it. The birds flew up in panic. He shot them down with arrows tipped in Hydra blood. Loud noise. Poison arrows. Done.
10. The Ceryneian Hind, a sacred deer with golden antlers and bronze hooves, belonged to Artemis, could outrun an arrow. Hercules couldn't kill it. Artemis would destroy him. He had to capture it alive. So he chased it for an entire year, across Greece, through forests and mountains, never stopping. Finally exhausted the deer and caught it gently. The hardest part wasn't strength, it was patience. A full year of cardio. 9. The Erymanthean Boar. A giant wild boar that terrorized the people of Mount Erymanthus. Hercules chased it into deep snow, exhausted it, and carried it back alive. When he showed it to Eurystheus, the king was so terrified that he hid in a giant bronze jar and refused to come out. The labor was easy. The aftermath was comedy. 8. The Cretan Bull. A fire-breathing bull from Crete, the same bull that fathered the Minotaur. Hercules wrestled it, subdued it, and brought it to Eurystheus. The king let it go. It wandered Greece, causing more chaos, until someone else dealt with it. Hercules did his job. The client was incompetent. 7. The Mares of Diomedes. King Diomedes had 4 horses, normal, except he fed them human flesh. They were man-eating, bloodthirsty, and absolutely terrifying. Hercules' solution? He fed Diomedes to his own horses. Once the horses ate their master, they became tame. Hercules led them back to Eurystheus. Brutal, efficient, disturbing. 6. The Belt of Hippolyta. Hercules had to travel to the land of the Amazons and ask Queen Hippolyta for her war belt, a gift from Ares himself. She actually said yes. She was willing to give it to him peacefully. This was going to be the easiest labor of all.
Then Hera, who hated Hercules, disguised herself and spread a rumor among the Amazons that Hercules was there to kidnap their queen. Battle erupted. Hercules killed Hippolyta and took the belt by force. The task itself was easy. Hera made it a tragedy.
5. The Nemean lion. The first labor. The lion's skin was completely impenetrable. Arrows bounced off, sword broke against it, club did nothing. So Hercules did the only thing left. He wrestled it, bare hands, strangled the lion in its own cave, then used the lion's own claw, the only thing sharp enough to skin it. He wore that invulnerable hide as armor for the rest of his life. The first labor became his signature look. 4. The cattle of Geryon. Geryon was a giant with 3 bodies, 3 heads, 6 arms, 3 torsos, who lived on an island at the edge of the known world.
To even reach the island, Hercules had to travel to the edge of the world. He got so frustrated by the heat that he shot an arrow at the sun. The sun god Helios, impressed by his audacity, gave him a golden cup to sail across the ocean. He killed Orthrus. He killed the herder. He killed Geryon. Then he had to drive the cattle all the way back to Greece, a journey across Europe that took months. Distance, monsters, a giant with 3 bodies. This was not a weekend trip.
3. The Lernaean Hydra. A serpent with 9 heads. Its breath and blood were deadly poison. And every time you cut off one head, 2 more grew in its place. Hercules quickly realized that chopping heads was making things worse. So he called in help, his nephew Iolaus. Hercules would cut off a head, and Iolaus would cauterize the stump with a burning torch before new heads could grow. Teamwork.
Once all the mortal heads were gone, Hercules buried the one immortal head under a massive rock. Then he dipped his arrows in the Hydra's poisoned blood, weapons so deadly they would later cause his own death. Eurystheus disqualified this labor because Hercules had help. 2 labors done, 2 disqualified.
2. The golden apples of the Hesperides. The apples of immortality, guarded by a 100-headed dragon named Ladon and the Hesperides nymphs, at the edge of the world, in a garden belonging to Hera. Hercules didn't even know where the garden was. He had to find and wrestle the sea god Nereus just to get directions. Then he had to free Prometheus from his chains to get advice. Prometheus told him, "Don't try to get the apples yourself. Get Atlas to do it."
Atlas was the titan who held up the sky. Hercules offered to hold the sky while Atlas fetched the apples. Atlas agreed, got the apples, then decided he didn't want to take the sky back. Hercules, with the literal weight of the heavens on his shoulders, said, "Sure, just hold it for 1 second while I adjust my cloak." Atlas took the sky back. Hercules grabbed the apples and walked away. He tricked the titan who holds up the universe while holding up the universe.
1. Cerberus. The final labor. Go to the underworld. Capture Cerberus, the 3-headed hound that guards the gates of the dead. Bring him to the surface.
No weapons allowed. Hades said yes, but only if Hercules used his bare hands. Let that sink in. The king of the underworld said, "You can borrow my dog, but you have to wrestle him. Naked hands, no weapons." Hercules descended into the underworld through a cave. He found Hades, got permission.
Then he found Cerberus, a massive three-headed dog with a serpent for a tail and snakes growing from his body. A creature whose entire purpose in existence was to make sure the dead never leave. Hercules wrestled him, bare hands, three heads biting, serpent tail lashing, snakes hissing. And Hercules, with nothing but his strength and his lion skin, overpowered the guardian of the dead. He dragged Cerberus to the surface, showed him to Eurystheus, who dove back into his bronze jar in pure terror, and then returned the dog to the underworld.
No creature in Greek mythology had ever left the underworld alive, except Cerberus. And the only reason he came back was because Hercules made him.
So the final ranking from easiest to hardest. 12. The Stables, cleaning with rivers. 11. The Birds, loud noise, poison arrows. 10. The Hind, a year of cardio. 9. The Boar, snow, net, carry home. 8. The Cretan Bull, wrestle, deliver, king releases it. 7. The Mares, feed the bad guy to his own horses. 6. The Belt, peaceful mission, Hera ruined it. 5. The Lion, invulnerable, strangled with bare hands.
4. The Cattle, edge of the world, three-bodied giant. 3. The Hydra, heads multiply, needed fire, needed help. 2. The Golden Apples, held the sky, tricked a titan. 1. Cerberus, the underworld, no weapons, bare hands, the guardian of death itself. Hercules didn't just complete these labors, he turned some of them into weapons. The lion became his armor, the Hydra's blood became his arrows. The journey to the edge of the world taught him to ask for help, and holding the sky taught him that even titans can be outsmarted.
Next video, we're going somewhere else. The most brutal punishments in Greek mythology. Sisyphus, Tantalus, Prometheus. What they did, what happened to them, and which one actually deserved it. Subscribe, or don't. But if you don't, I'm telling Cerberus.